Was the Trump campaign, it was comprised of private citizens surveilled by the Obama administration? Was information collected and then retained about them? These are questions that should frighten every American, no matter what your political affiliation. Was the government spying on its citizens? Well, we know for certain that Carter Page, who was on this program earlier this week, was targeted and surveilled by the FBI. He was approached by an FBI informant who was reportedly sent out to make contact with Page and other Trump campaign aides. The big question is, did President Obama or high-ranking White House officials know of and authorize spying on a political opponent, mainly Trump and his campaign staff? Well, this is certainly not the first time the government has surveilled citizens or captured information on them. I want to take you back to a hearing from 2013 when Senator Ron Wyden posed this question to then Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper.
What I wanted to see is if you could give me a yes or no answer to the question, does the NSA collect any type of data at all on millions or hundreds of millions of Americans?
No, sir.
It does not.
Not wittingly.
Then yesterday, Clapper appeared on The View, where he tried to defend himself against Trump's charges that he's basically just a liar.
The president's calling me a lying machine. Well, okay. What that stems from is an exchange I had with Senator Wyden 5 years ago in March of 2013 about a surveillance program, and he was asking me about one, and I was thinking about another. So I made a mistake, but I didn't lie, so that's what occasioned...
Yeah, occasioned the lying. Well, even Meghan McCain could see through Clapper's obfuscations.
So what you're referencing, though, is that when you said, when you're talking about James Snowden blowing the whistle on the NSA illegally spying, and in 2013 when you were asked about it, you said no. So that is a lie. And
no, it isn't a lie. I'm sorry. It isn't a lie. I was thinking about something else.
What the heck was he thinking about? It's a lie. And it is amazing to me that Clapper continues to go on national TV again and shamelessly, with a straight face, denies what we already know to be true. Information leaked by Edward Snowden, national security contractor, completely contradicts Clapper's claims. The question from Wyden was simple and clear. And Wyden himself has called out Clapper for all this repeatedly. But I think the most damning moment of Clapper's View appearance was this one.
Was the FBI spying on Trump's campaign?
No, they were not. They were spying on a term I don't particularly like, but on what the Russians were doing, trying to understand, were the Russians infiltrating, trying to gain access, trying to gain leverage.
I like how he does this. Spying. wait a second. He doesn't like the term. He's the man who oversaw massive surveillance and intel collected by spies. He has a problem with the term spying? Are you kidding me? But the laughing really makes it very believable. None of this was lost on the president, who today tweeted, "Spygate could be one of the biggest political scandals in history." Then he doubled down.
I mean, if you look at Clapper, he sort of admitted that they had spies in the campaign yesterday, inadvertently. But I hope it's not true, but it looks like it is. We now call it Spygate. You're calling it Spygate. A lot of bad things have happened.
Well, bad things, Mr. President, have been happening for some time now. Remember when Clapper and Sally Yates were confronted by Senator Chuck Grassley about the unmasking of Trump officials? They were surveilled, remember, at Trump Tower.
Mr. Clapper and Ms. Yates, did either of you ever request the unmasking of Mr. Trump, his associates, or any member of Congress?
Yes, in one case I did. I can specifically recall, but I can't discuss it any further than that.
Did either of you ever review classified documents in which Mr. Trump, his associates, or members of Congress had been unmasked?
Oh, yes.
You have. Can you give us details here? In this?
No, I can't.
Ms. Yates, have you?
Yes, I have, and no, I can't give you details.
There is little doubt in my mind that we've witnessed an outrageous abuse of our intel and law enforcement agencies. Not because Brennan or Comey or Clapper were convinced that Russia was rigging the election, but because they wanted to hobble a much bigger threat, Donald Trump. The Obama crowd was so brazen and so confident that they were doing the right thing that I think in the end they were actually really sloppy. At least 7 Trump associates are suspected of being surveilled. Steve Bannon, Michael Cohen, Lieutenant General Michael Flynn, son-in-law Jared Kushner, Paul Manafort, Carter Page, and George Papadopoulos. We also know that at least 4 top Obama officials regularly requested that the names of Americans be unmasked. For Samantha Power, this was reportedly a near daily undertaking during the 2016 campaign, that year, 2016. Now, here's why all this deep state intrigue matters. The Obama team had a material interest in spiking the Hillary Clinton email probe and making way for the Trump-Russia investigation. Their careers and their legacies hung in the balance. As Andy McCarthy of National Review rightly points out in a column today, had Hillary won the election, many of these officials would have retained their jobs and would have been able to cover whatever schemes they ran during the Obama tenure. They simply could not permit Trump to take the presidency. And once he was within striking distance, I think they got really desperate. Desperate to wrap up that Hillary probe so maybe she could, take the White House like they always thought, and desperate to collect dirt on Trump to destroy any chance of that candidacy. It is a rich irony that the very people who claim that they wanted to stop Russian interference in our elections adopted the tactics of a totalitarian state like Russia to stifle political opponents and to subvert the election of Donald Trump. Given all of that, it made me howl when Chuck Schumer said this yesterday.
President's behavior is the kind of grossly autocratic behavior we'd expect in a banana republic, not a mature democracy.
No, Chuck. Banana Republic is a place where citizens, particularly political opponents, are spied upon, falsely charged, and unjustly imprisoned. What Trump is attempting to do is to expose the corruption in our intel and law enforcement services, which Congress and the president must exercise their oversight over. In the wake of 9/11, conservatives were willing to trade our privacy for security. We're now being photographed by the government how many times a day? Can't even count. Our money and our persons are tracked at home and abroad. Well, we the people and our elected officials should not be endlessly trailed and treated like dangers to the state. And we certainly should not be spied upon for political reasons. The ever-expanding surveillance state is a threat to our freedom, and some within these agencies think they are omnipotent and above the law. They are not. This is a president who will not be controlled and who will not be manipulated, and he's insisting on full transparency. That's a novel concept that the deep state better get used to, and that's the angle.